Hey, what's up? In this video, we're gonna build this reclaimed rustic coffee table. I wanted to do a project that was pretty darn simple. I think anybody could probably do this, all right? Well, after you watch the video, of course. I'm gonna show you how to build the whole thing. Reclaimed wood can be a little trickier than you think. So watch the video and subscribe to my channel. Enjoy.
Red sky, reach up for so high, blue eyes, fake cry.
All right, the first thing you want to do with really any building project is first select your wood, then stand back, take a nice long look, and spend some good time staring at it. I do this frequently with all my projects. Maybe take a few measurements and stare some more. Now the idea is eventually the wood will speak to you and you'll know exactly what needs to be done with it. Once your stare down is complete, it is time to cut your wood into the appropriate sizes. Now with reclaimed wood, it is never square. In fact, it is always a wonkified mess. This piece was about a ½ inch different on one side compared to the other, so some planing was necessary. It is important to remember that when dealing with reclaimed wood, you want to pick a side to plane down, leaving the other side untouched. This way, you will maintain that beautiful reclaimed look on one side. For the top of this coffee table, I was fortunate enough to find these two 16-inch wide pieces, so I simply ran them through the joiner on one side, leaving the outside untouched, so that I had a nice glue seam with my original reclaimed wood on the outer edges. Next, I throw them in some clamps, and I glue ye olde top together, making sure that I've got plenty of clamps to keep it nice and clamped. And with our top in clamps, we set that aside and begin working on our base structure. Now the inspiration for this coffee table base came from a similar piece I saw while traveling around Ireland. It consists of 1, 2, 3, 4 legs, as most coffee tables do. On this particular design, we are going to have the skirt inset into the top of each leg. So first we mark out exactly where we want to remove material, and then we remove that material by running it through a dado stack on the table saw with a crosscut sled. I start by setting a stop on my crosscut sled to make sure that all my cuts are even from the top of my leg down. Once that is complete, I remove the stop and work my way towards the top of the leg, roughing out the remainder of the material. With our legs roughed out, it is time to start working on our skirt. Not that type of skirt, you goofball. The skirt that will sit just below our tabletop. We start by planing them down to remove a bit of material, just to make them thin enough to leave a nice reveal off the top of our table leg. Next, it is time to cut all of our skirt pieces with a 45-degree angle to create a nice mitered corner to wrap around our entire coffee table. And last but not least, we dado out an 1/8-inch groove, a ½ inch down from the top of our skirt. That will accommodate our Z fasteners when it comes time to attach our tabletop. At this point, we have all of the pieces cut that we need to assemble our table, so there's nothing left to do but sand. With all of our pieces sanded, it is time to glue up our skirt. Now, I like to glue my skirt together first before attaching it to my legs because, well, it's much easier to do it this way. So, I like to glue it up using these nice little square clampy thingies from Woodpeckers. They make clamping miters nice and easy. However, they don't give enough clamping force to hold. They just are more for alignment. So after I get those in place, I like to throw on some additional pony clamps to really hone in that clamping force. While our skirt dries, it's time to pop back over to our tabletop. Now, there were a few knot holes that were a little loose, and I feared they might fall out at an inconvenient time, so I took a little CA glue around the perimeter and made sure they would stay right where they are supposed to. Next, I trimmed down the table to size using my track saw. However, whenever you make a fresh cut into reclaimed wood, you lose all of that original patina. Now, you can fake this look with a butane torch ran evenly across the freshly cut surface, and if you're lucky, nobody will know. It works great on creme brulee as well. Now that we've trimmed our tabletop to size, taken care of those wobbly knot holes, and darkened the edge, we can sand and get ready for finish. Well, isn't this moving right along? With our tabletop done, it's time to bounce back over to our skirt, which is now dried up and ready to have the legs attached. But I couldn't help myself throwing the top on just to see how the whole thing was gonna look. Here's where we go a little rogue. Now, I really didn't want to sink a bunch of screws into this table after I spent all the time dadoing out the legs and gluing up the skirt. And the one I saw in Ireland did not have screws in it either. So I just did it the way they did it there, which was drilling into the skirt and into the leg and simply inserting some dowels to hold everything in place. Enjoy. Hey, remember that trick I told you about earlier? Burning the edge of freshly cut wood? Yeah, it also works on freshly inserted dowels. Just thought you should know. And believe it or not, you just do that exact same thing to the other 3 corners of the table. I probably could have left it at that, but I have this uncurable disease where I need to over-engineer everything. I did not like the dowels being the only thing holding this together, so I decided to put in 1 extra support piece on each side. These are the only fasteners in the entire table, and as I said, you could probably take them or leave them. With that, our coffee table is structurally complete. However, there is one pesky chore left to do, and that is to rub finish over its entire body. One of the biggest struggles when finishing reclaimed wood is trying to find a finish that will keep its natural beauty. Now, I have experimented with a lot of different finishes, and most of them either leave it too yellow or too orange. For this, I feel I found a perfect combination by mixing Rubio Monocoat's Corn Silk with a little Rubio Monocoat Pure and just a dash of Rubio Monocoat Chocolate. The end result is exactly the color that I was looking for. Well, if you're not asleep by now, you might remember earlier in the video where I mentioned dadoing out that 1/8 inch groove to allow for our Z-clip fasteners. This is the time that part comes in very handy, as we simply insert the fasteners into the skirt and attach them to the tabletop. Well, OMG, we built a coffee table. This coffee table is actually going in a vacation rental, and I love the fact that it is so rustic and reclaimed it can get dinged up and nobody will ever know.
Hey, thanks for watching that video. I hope it was helpful. I hope you learned something. If you want to see more videos like this, please subscribe down below right there. It would really help me out. And leave a comment. Tell me what you liked, didn't like. It's all good. It's an open forum. I might say something rude back. If you say something rude to me, I kind of like to banter that way. But still, subscribe.